You mean to tell me it's time for another episode of Lights, Camera, Action already? Jeez, I just sat down to watch the game. All right. I'll be there in a second. Maybe a few hours.
Toss, the 31st year of the Superdome. These two teams played in the very first game back in 1975. This game brought to you in high definition by Sony.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Rock, and welcome to Lights, Camera, Action, Episode 4. Now, you may have noticed what we're going to be talking about in this episode. That's right, color and correction. Vegas has a cool feature which has two plugins built in, called Color Correction 1 and Color Correction 2. And in this episode, we'll see exactly how this works. Shaggy, give me a Scooby snack! Over here! I know, some people said I look like Shaggy with his wig on. So, I decided to do my imitation of Scooby-Doo. Can you and I be friends? Anyway, let's move on. Okay, let's see how exactly the color correction plugin works within the Vegas video software. Let's check it out. I'm going to be using this picture of me in my studio to try and adjust some of the colors. As we can see, there's too much yellow tint within this picture. So we're going to try and fix this up by moving the color wheel around here and see if we can get a much better picture. The color correction plugin helps you adjust colors in your video by independently adjusting the color of the low, the middle, and the high color tones. Note that this color correction plugin is only available in the full version of Vegas software and in the Vegas Movie Studio Platinum software. Now that looks a little better. Yes, this looks a little more natural. Sometimes your camera won't expose the film correctly. Now keep in mind that this also works with video footage as well. Now let's check out the secondary color corrector. Now this plugin is useful for not only fixing color, but you can fine-tune by selecting a certain color within the video footage or picture, and you can either fix the color or you can make the color something of another color. In other words, if I had a black shirt, I could change it to something red shirt if I wanted to. So keep in mind that these color correctors are not only used for correcting color, but also as special effects. So that's kind of nifty to have. Let's talk a little bit about how to expose your video correctly while filming. Now, this is my smaller camera that I use. This is the Sony, it's a Digital 8 model. This is actually the DCR TRV 260. It's, I bought it from Walmart for, when it first came out, it was like, I think $4.99. I paid about $500. But now you can get them for about $248 to $250 at Walmart. And what I like to talk about is actually the exposure button on here. To get to it, you simply open your viewfinder. And there's a button in here, right here. It's the exposure button. Simply you click that button and we'll show you how it works. So as you're looking at the viewfinder, it's usually set to about midways. As you see, there's a little slider right here on the back which moves the little line side to side, which brightens or dimmens the exposure button. So as we move this line, we can adjust it. Say if I'm out, this is the default settings, probably about right there, it's dead center. If I'm filming outside and it's really bright and the sun's bright, I may want to drop this down a few clicks just to expose the scene correctly. If I'm indoors and there's not much light, we might want to go ahead and click it up 2 notches from the default setting. This is pretty much how you use the exposure button on the smaller cameras. Now the big camera, which the Z1U, which I'm filming with right now, it has exposure as well as a white balance. We'll talk a little bit about white balance in the next episode. But for now, just remember that using your auto exposure to expose your scene correctly will give you a lot better video footage. Okay, the next topic we're going to talk about is how to shoot in front of a green screen. Yay! I know a lot of you have been waiting for this topic, but we're not going to go into too much detail because I like to keep my episodes down to a minimum for everybody who is trying to stream these. But I will talk about a little bit more. Actually, we'll be producing a DVD with everything you possibly need to know about video production, and we'll be hosting it on the Rock Production site where you can get it. But I'm going to talk about this more in the last episode of Lights, Camera, Action that we'll be doing on Acid Planet. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about the green screen. Okay, as you can see, I'm standing in front of a green screen now. And it's just a piece of cloth that I got from Walmart. Didn't pay an arm and a leg for it. Might have paid under $20. I got 2 pieces, sewed them together. You can see a seam right here. Sewed them together, and the main thing you have to worry about when shooting in front of a green screen is it has to be lit evenly, the light. Find yourself a nice little room, pin up your sheets. If you don't want to buy any sheets, you can buy a piece of plywood, poster boards, put them together, anything, and buy you some paint for the plywood, paint it green. Just make sure it's the closest to a green screen color, which is pretty close to natural green as possible. And I think actually plywood or poster board would work a little better because when the light reflects on a flatter surface, it doesn't emit shadows such as the sheets or cloth. So anyway, just find yourself a nice little room with a lot of light in it. I'm standing in a small room right here, maybe a 6 by 8 maybe, and I have 4 60-watt light bulbs in front of me and 1 above me. It's also nice to really light if you have a lighting kit. Also, let's point out something. As you can see behind me, as I move closer to the background, you can see a dark shadow gets a little bit sharper, and that's a little bit harder to key out. So what you want to do is keep your subject away from the screen as much as possible, and now you see the shadow behind me is way more softer and easier to work with. So remember, if you really want to do keying with green screen, invest your money in Serious Magic's product Ultra, because if you do have shadows behind you, you can get rid of them a lot better using Ultra than you can using a regular keying software program. But anyway, thank you for watching this Lights, Camera, Action episode, and we'll see you again in the next one.